Hey everyone, Joshua Kreis here with another video. This one's a very special video though. This is an interview with Bryan Casella, also known as BC, rock star real estate agent, superstar YouTuber. He dropped some knowledge in this interview. So make sure you stay tuned through the whole video to see all of the great information that he's dropping, all the knowledge that he's dropping from all of his experience, his coaching. It's all within this video. It's amazing. So stay tuned. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and comment below if you have any questions. If you have any questions as far as joining us at EXP, check it out in the description as well. Make sure that you subscribe to Bryan Casella's channel as well. I'll have his link in the description. And stay tuned to the end to see who we pick to win the Conor McGregor fight. So just so we all know why we're doing this interview, it's basically because my YouTube channel is primarily focused on, the work ethic and high performance real estate agents and other sales professionals as well. And the basis of this interview would be more to dig in a little deeper with somebody an agent like Bryan Casella, Mr. Bryan here, that at his caliber and how he does things. That's basically the basis of this interview. So Bryan, if you can just give a quick introduction of yourself real quick, and then we can jump into the question.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. BC, as everybody calls me. I'm in Southern California, soon to be moving to a undisclosed location, which I'll announce very soon. I've been in the real estate business for 8 years now. I started as a loan agent with no experience, no connections, no nothing, and built up within 3 years a pretty good book of business for myself. Started my team. While I was doing that, I built my social media, which has now just exploded. I have over, I think, 181,000 subscribers now on YouTube. I have a coaching program, Modern Success, with over 300 active members. My personal team now has expanded into 12 states, and we're at 29 members now strong. So I've just been having fun, bro, and growing everything. And as they coin nowadays, right? It's cool to say 10x. I'm 10xing everything. So
yeah, I can see it, man. I mean, like I told you before we got onto this recording here, is that I've been watching you for years on YouTube. I used your cold calling videos to pump me up for my cold calling videos, or not my videos, but my cold calls. As a matter of fact, I even made a video on my YouTube about cold calls, and I suggested that people go and watch videos like yours before they get on the cold call so they can be pumped and ready to go. Because that's just how it worked for me. And that's how I got into my cold calling and door knocking. Because you're a big component on that, you know? So, but yeah, man, definitely I've been seeing with you, it's totally been 10x, just being able to watch that journey through your social media, through your YouTube channel. It's been awesome. And it's a pleasure to have you on here, man. I'm very, very happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me, bro. You know, it's really, those are some kind words, man. I really appreciate it.
Honestly, you are my inspiration. If people don't know yet, most of them know on my social media platforms, I did switch from Keller Williams. No, nothing bad about Keller Williams. I switched to EXP primarily because of some of the insight that I received from BC here. So I hope this could help out some other people as well.
Happy to have you on board.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. Team BC.
There we go. There we go.
So, going on 10x, right? Coined that 10x thing, right? All these gurus out there, they're always talking about how they get their days going, right? How they go about their day and become successful, or what contributes to their success. And a lot of these gurus, a lot of these things that we listen to, they do talk about having a morning routine or something like that. Now, is there anything particular that you do that gets your mind right for the day?
Great question, man. And to facilitate that for people, because I think that term and morning routine has been thrown around so much that a lot of people like cringe when they hear it now, because they think, oh, I'm going to be told to wake up at 3 a.m. and, go running and this and that. Basically, what that attempts to establish in layman's terms is you want to, as a business person or whatever it is that you're doing, you want to establish some sort of rhythm in your life. And all that these things do in the morning, no matter what it is. For some people, it could be going for a walk. For some people, it could be like me, I read in the morning and take a cold shower, like for sure, every single morning, and I meditate. Those are 3 things I do every morning, right? Like by the book. Even if I'm traveling, I do it. So that just works for me and gets me in a rhythm. And then when I start my day and I go to the office or whatever is on the calendar for that day, I'm ready to go. Right now, I've established a rhythm a long time ago, so I just flow into it. But for some people who maybe transition from like a regular job to like being in real estate, it may be tough to now wake up earlier, go to sleep earlier, you know, and then change your routine now to suddenly say, hey, I'm going to take a cold shower. So the first time you go in the shower and turn that cold water on, you're probably going to scream so loud, your neighbors are going to call the cops, right? So that's what it is. It's just get yourself in a rhythm and look at what some of these other people are doing. And you don't have to copy everybody. Grab 1 or 2 that grab your attention, or better yet, if you listen to 1 or 2 that kind of make you uncomfortable or scare you, that's the one to grab and do, because that's the one that's going to push you outside of your comfort zone. And that's all the morning routine is. So for me, dude, to reiterate it, just a cold shower, I meditate and I read every morning. And that doesn't take more than, you know, an hour, hour and a half, right? So I still wake up around 5:30, 5:45 every day. And by 7:15, all that stuff is done. Then I can head to the office and do what I have to do.
Gotcha. Yeah. You know, I thought the cold shower thing was crazy. Honestly, there's a YouTuber, his name is Richard Yu. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's a high performance coach is what he calls himself. And he had videos like a day in the life, right? And waking up, taking that cold shower. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. I was like, I've heard a lot of people say it. I'm going to try it. I started doing that. Try to wake up at 5:15 every morning. That's my hardest thing, is waking up that early, right? So honestly, one of the things that I've done is I got this little fancy thing here. It's called a padlock, right? This thing literally, like, it helps you form habits, okay? And if you do something negative, you can literally give it a tap and it'll give you a nice little zap, like electric shock.
Wow. Just
to kind of reform your brain. And the crazy thing is it goes in tune with your alarm clock. And that's the only way I've been able to wake up consistently at 5:15, because sometimes I don't go to sleep early enough, you know?
Yeah.
And this thing gives me a nice little zap at 5:15 if I hit the snooze button and I'm up, hit that cold shower, and then I jump into my reading. So I thought I was being crazy. My family thought I was crazy doing that. But just to hear you saying that, it makes me feel a lot better about my morning routine. So, all right, moving on real quick. One of the biggest things that we see, especially being entrepreneurs and business owners, sales professionals, there's a lot of busy work, right? It doesn't keep you busy, right? Or it's stuff that you feel like driving around, to houses and stuff. People are like, oh, I'm working. Well, technically you're not. You're just driving, right? Those types of things, like that busy work, and what equates into procrastination in a sense, right? So, and that's one of the big things that I dealt with myself, is procrastination all the way through, high school, college, getting into being an entrepreneur, is procrastinating on what I need to get done. So that's the question is do you struggle with procrastination? And if you do, what do you do to combat it?
I think what you described is great, because I remember, I think it was Mike Ferry. He said a term, or one of his coaches said a term called creative avoidance, where we know we're supposed to like be on the phone, but we'll go drive around or check emails or do some other task that we fool ourselves into saying, well, I have to do this. But in reality, you're supposed to be on the phones. I can look back in my life, because you asked me if I procrastinate. The only thing I can look back and like with 100% honesty and transparency say to you that I've procrastinated on is always things that I didn't want to do. So school, regular school, super procrastination. Huge semester project due Friday, Thursday night, I'm up till fucking 4 a.m. getting it done. You know what I mean? So that, however, when I stepped into the realm of real estate, and I tell this to everybody that comes to me or maybe asks you questions, right? Maybe this is something you can start throwing at them. No matter what they tell me, oh, I'm scared to make calls, or, oh, I'm finding difficulty, I'm procrastinating. My one thing that I always say to them first is, I say, you signed up for this. You said you wanted this, right? Yep. and they have to tell me, yes, you willingly, I didn't put a gun to your head and say you're getting your real estate license. You said, I talked to Josh, or I watched Josh on YouTube. I want to get my license. Now, when you get faced with something, you got to own up to it and do it. So to me, it's not procrastination. It's now creative avoidance or something else, if we're even going to name it something. But all I tell people is, look, when you sign up for something like real estate, you need to be clear on what it is that you want out of it. Because when the pressure is on, that's what you, in quotes, fall back on, that keeps you moving forward. That when you face that big bad monster from the closet, you're like, backing up isn't even in your mind. And you're like, okay, I'm facing this dude. I don't care how scared I am. The option of turning around or taking a step back, that's not even in my mind or an option at all. I'm moving forward no matter what happens. If you embody that attitude, which you do through getting clear on your intentions of why you're getting in and what you want to get out of it, which is pretty simple, but people don't take the time to do that. They just get excited. They'll watch your video and be like, oh man, he seems like he has a cool life. He's with EXP. Let's do it. It's like, nah, dude, check with yourself. Is this really what you want to do? And if you've already taken that step, I need to have a plan. I need to have, like a target and say, hey, this is where we're headed. So for me, it was, I'm a little nervous to make calls, but hey, all the stuff I put on my wall, whether it's material or not, I need to make the call to get that. So if I really want it, then I don't care how I feel. I need to make the call. And that's how I got over it, So all this other stuff, I wouldn't give myself the option. This whole driving around and all that wasn't even an option for me, dude. So I never dealt with that, because I would look at that activity, even if I thought about it, and say, that's a complete waste of my time. That's not work. I would tell myself, that's not working. Get on the phone, dude. Because when you're in these positions, especially newer or intermediate, you need to focus on the highest income producing and highest priority activities, which is prospecting, lead generation, following up, negotiating contracts, setting appointments, and attending appointments if you're an agent. That's it. On your off time, study, practice, and do all that stuff. But between like 8 or 9 a.m. until 4 or 5 p.m., whatever your day is, you need to be focused on those activities the majority of the time. Otherwise, you're just BSing yourself and BSing everybody and putting on this veil that, oh, I'm working. No, you're not working, dude. Now, the difference is, Josh, when people get around me, they know, because of who I am, I'm going to call that stuff out. So all that stuff goes out the window very quickly, right? And that's why it's so key that you surround yourself with the right people, join the right coaching or whatever it takes for you to be around that type of energy and people to call you out on that and not allow that behavior.
Yep. No, yeah, that is huge. There's a lot of good things in there, like especially that creative avoidance. I was a huge victim of that when I first got into real estate. It was hard to get out there and do those door knocking, the door knocking, the phone calls, all that. One of the things that I ended up doing for myself was I tried to set traps for myself, in a sense, where I had to report to somebody, whether that be my wife or an accountability partner, that, hey, look, this is what I did, and I got this many appointments. And if I didn't have a certain amount of appointments for that day, if I wrote that down. So here, I'll give you an example of what I've been doing. I have some partners as well that are out in Tucson, a little south of me here. And one of the things that we have is, by the end of business today, we had to have, 5 new sellers in the pipeline, new ones, right? So we took pictures, snapshots of our database, right? Okay, we had to have 5 new ones with the next steps. If we didn't have that, then what's going to happen is we're going to do that ice bucket challenge, and then somebody has to hit us with like flour, right after the ice bucket, just flour us, right? And post that on social media, just a little bit of a, just kind of keep each other accountable. So like I do stuff like that. And that's the other thing that's very, very important, is getting those accountability partners, somebody that is really going to tell you, no, dude, like you're not doing it right. Or, hey, you didn't get enough of that. You didn't stick to it. Not somebody that's going to push over and say, oh, it's okay, you'll get it next time. You need somebody to really hold you accountable. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, like, watching some of your videos for me was like, it was in that sense where I'm like, okay, what would Bryan do in this sense? Like, what is he going to do? Like, if he didn't make an appointment this week, or if he didn't get 2, 3, 4, 5 appointments this week, So I don't know. It's just having that accountability there and being accountable for what you do, right? So, no, that was really good stuff. Really
and
good.
It's 2 ways too. Like the group accountability is essential of course. However, what's senior to that and always needs to be senior to that is your self-accountability. Because I can set up everything in the world to hold you accountable, but if you're not going to hold yourself accountable, then it's not going to work. Because I always tell people it comes back to you. If you're clear about it, you want it bad enough, you hold yourself accountable, you do what you're supposed to do, there's nothing that's going to stop you. But somewhere along the lines, people get in their own way. However, they don't want to admit it. That's the issue, bro. Nobody wants to look themselves in the mirror or look at you and say, Josh, you know what? I messed up. I own up to it. It's so difficult, apparently, for people to do that. So what do? And you see this rampant in society, even outside of real estate. Let's point the finger at other people instead of taking responsibility for our actions. And I can't stand that, because to me, it's like a lack of maturity from a boy to a man or a girl to a woman, you know? Yeah. And we don't take responsibility for our actions, how we think, and what we did. And it's very easy to scapegoat and say, well, it was his fault or her fault, you know? And again, that doesn't fly on my team. So people won't even talk like that or act like that in my office or around me on my team, because they know it's not going to fly.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So to be able to teach that to somebody, I think is key, because if you unlock that self portion of it in people, that's worth its weight in gold and priceless.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Moving on, because I know we got some other questions here that I want to get to. I've been watching some of your more recent videos, right? Some clips and stuff from some of your training that you've been posting on YouTube, and one of them was about neuro linguistic programming, right? NLP, and that's one of my favorite things, right? And not many people understand it and use it to its benefit, right? And how it works along the sales process. So for me, when I'm watching this video, I'm like, man, Bryan is killing it, man. This is some good stuff. I'm like, this is great. Like, I was like, I wonder if he has any like formal sales training, like an organization that you've gone to and learned from, or if this is just all BC. This is all BC knowledge is coming out.
Great question, bro. This is the way I'll put it. Have I read a ton of books, spent a ton of money on seminars and events and, you know, the formal paper teachings? Absolutely. Right? If people want to know, I went to Transform Destiny to do the hypnotherapy, the hypnosis certification, the NLP certification, all that fun stuff. However, by the time I got there, I want to make this clear, I already knew that stuff. Where the majority of my understanding of this and application of it came from me learning some of these basic concepts. And when I would let's say I'd be reading, and this is like, let's say this Tao is an NLP book, right? And I'm reading it. If page 2, I get like this cool technique that I'm reading, I'm like, oh my God, this technique is amazing. I would stop reading right there and start to go out and spot the technique that other people were using. And I would start using it and applying it and seeing it over and over and over. And then I would come back to my place and be like, man, this is incredible. So it was my application and observation of the application of it in the real world, whether that's a belief or philosophy or a technique, that allowed me to get to higher levels in it, man. Because I can probably name off thousands and thousands of people, bro, who have read these books and done these programs, but how come their application and real true understanding of NLP and all these other concepts that I know are not at this level? And I'm not saying I'm the best. It's just I treat it differently and I swim in this stuff, right? Yeah. Like I'll sit there sometimes and observe people from an NLP standpoint and say, oh, I'm listening. Oh, he just used a language pattern. Oh, he just used a tie down. And I'm spotting it, and then I'm purposely using these techniques myself. The cool thing is though, as everybody's listening here, when I say NLP or hypnosis, many people come to your mind. Like the people who go on stage and blah, 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 say yes, raise your hand, right? That's classic NLP. But you can spot those people and listen to them, and you know they're doing a technique on you. How about somebody who's more advanced, who's doing it to you when you don't even realize it? That's the level I'm going for. I don't want to just be the NLP guy, which is great. Shout out to them, man. Some of those guys are incredible. However, my thing was always, how can I be such a smooth operator that every single technique that I use, no one's picking up on it? Or only high-level peers will say, oh, he just did something. That was really good. Like, that's the table I want to be at discussing these topics. And that's the type of angle I wanted on this. That's why I went a different route. Because do I have the papers and stuff? Absolutely, bro. However, I got those for marketing because I know people will see that and say, oh, he's legit. Yeah. If I say I'm self-taught, the majority of the public says, oh, he doesn't know anything, even if I know more than other people. So again, I have to understand the game and play it properly, right? So I just really was fascinated with these subjects, dude, because it helped me handle so much internal stuff myself, helped me understand myself the most, which I think is the best part of, NLP and hypnosis.
Yeah.
And then once you achieve a certain level of mastery of yourself, then now it's much easier for you to help other people, influence other people, teach other people, and do all that stuff. Because most people are always looking out. They forget to look in first, get that straight, and then go out. And that's the issue that I think most people are having.
Yep. No, yep. I didn't get into the NLP stuff until later on. I've always done, so my background, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, right? And I mean, that comes in play with sales. I mean, just everyday life.
Yeah.
And, like we said, knowing like yourself and understanding a better knowledge of yourself as well to help out with these types of things. That's key. And main thing that I focused on was transactional analysis, which was introduced back in, like, I believe the 50s or the 60s by Dr. Derek. Is it Derek? I know his last name's Byrne. It's Dr. Byrne. And there's a huge community of transactional analysis. But then a lot of people that have studied transactional analysis but they connected to NLP and whatnot. So when I saw you going on and that, I was just like, man, this is the stuff, man. Like, it just solidified too, just being able to join Team BC, for me, just because I know that I'm going to be on the same page. And when I get involved with the coaching with you guys, like, it's just going to be that much more fun and more rewarding for me, So
Absolutely. 100%.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Couple more things real quick. We'll wrap it up here soon. Is when we first initially talked about doing this interview, I was still with Keller Williams. And one of my questions was, because I was curious after watching some of your videos, was why EXP, right? And then, which if anybody's a fan of yours, they've already seen at least, quite a few different videos from you, right? Especially the most recent one, year 3 update.
Yeah.
Explaining why EXP. And so basically, 2 questions: why EXP, and why should someone join Team BC?
Well, the EXP thing for me was pretty cut and dry. I'm somebody who isn't brand new, and most agents, I think, who are joining or asking this question for the most part fall into 2 categories. Either they're brand new and they're shopping for a brokerage, or there's somebody who maybe has been with a brokerage for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they're kind of sticking their nose over the fence. Like, I'm not upset, I'm not too unhappy, but let's see what's over here, So to the first group, for the agents, it's when I explained it to them, some of the things that I've gone through and experienced, they haven't experienced yet because they haven't had a license. So that they have a different reference point than the person who's been in the business for 20 years. So for me, why I joined EXP, number one, I felt like they took, in essence, the best of what everybody was doing and enhanced it and added to it, right? They provide for very affordable rates. Like, I know it's $85 a month to be with a company, which is incredible. If any of you pay desk fees, 85 is very fair, very, very fair. We get something like KV Core.
Yeah.
Which I think it's like over $1,000 a month. And if you don't know what KV Core is, right? Basically, it's a front end kind of lead gen website, and on the back end, it has a full CRM, which is incredible. And I've tried Lion Desk, I've tried Realty Juggler, I've tried so many different CRMs, and even for me, and I'm totally anti-tech savvy, right? You guys look at me like, oh, he makes videos. I don't edit them. I don't do anything, right? I just make the content and other people upload it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just the face of the brand. Even that for me was like, okay, it took me a little bit to understand it, but once I did, I was like, man, KV Core is incredible.
Yeah. And
just that, because I looked at it more personally from a transactional standpoint. I wasn't in it really for the stocks and the revenue share. That to me was just a bonus.
Yeah.
So that was huge for me, systemizing and building your business with a proper foundation and having the tools that you need to succeed. And then another big one for me was, a lot of people always bring up brick and mortar. You have access to people. It's in person, hands-on. Well, that wasn't my experience. I was at a brick and mortar my first, 5 years. Getting a hold of the broker at any place was near impossible. Anytime I had an issue, I couldn't just ask somebody. They had to ask somebody who asked somebody who asked somebody, right? And it was just like this never-ending trail. Now I can call my broker, and if they don't answer right away, within 30 minutes or an hour, I get a call back from one of my state brokers, which is incredible. Now, do I need them every day? No, but when I do, they're there. So when you talk about that, the cool people that I've met through the company as well, some heavy hitters, people bringing over their brokerages of 200, 500 agents who are killing it. Number one, Realty Smart or Home Smart broker, right? Met him in Vegas. Like a bunch of other people, huge XKW people who are running mega teams. That's the people I want at my table to get advice from, and just being able to break bread with them and spend time with them on the regular is awesome. And the community is so collaborative, I'm sure it's like that in other companies too, but I never really experienced it at that level until I joined EXP, dude. So I just think, I look at it like, where's the negative, right? I mean, people will throw negatives out, but from my experience, most of the negatives that people throw out about EXP is just rumors, and it's false. It's not true.
Right. That was what was my problem, is that I didn't hear the real side of things. Right. I've only heard it from people that didn't really necessarily want to see me go somewhere else. Right. Like, I don't want to say any names, but like just people that I worked with in the past. So I've been with a couple different brokers, and just talking to some of the people. I went to a lunch and learn for EXP probably a year and a half ago, and it made a whole lot of sense. And it was with a team lead that I was working with, and he immediately, when we got in the car, he's like, "Oh, all these negative things." It basically nothing that was verifiable, right? Just a bunch of stuff that he was just kind of what he heard and whatnot. So as I went and investigated myself, because I'm a big person on that, is that, research it yourself, find it out yourself, don't just listen to somebody, right? Just find it out, listen to them, and then if you need to do some further research, and go for it. So I've been kind of looking through that for a while, and then you said it, man, heavy hitters. There's a big, huge brokerage here in Arizona that all of a sudden, hey, we're with EXP. I was like, are you kidding me? Big brokerage, man. And I was like, and some big heavy hitter teams that went over, and I'm like, that is insane. Like, I got to figure this out. What's going on? Why are they going? Because I remember, because I worked with that huge broker when I first got my license. And I remember them, they were like, we're never going to do this. We're never going to do this. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're with EXP. I'm like, there's got to be a reason for them to make that switch.
And everybody says that in the beginning, I'm never going to move. Because, if at that moment you're happy, that's fine. So, that's why I've always, at the same time, I haven't shoved EXP down anybody's throat. I'm open to conversations. I talk about it a little bit, but I've been with EXP 3 years. How many YouTube videos have I made about EXP? A handful, maybe, in 3 years. So, like, I'm not shoving it down people's throats, because that's one of the rumors. Oh, all they do is recruit. Excuse me?
Right.
Like, I'm like one of the top recruiters for the company, technically, on paper. Do you see me shoving EXP down anybody's throat? No. So, just because 2 or 3 people that maybe you heard of from another friend who knows somebody said that, doesn't mean it's true. That's why people have to verify things for themselves. Yep,
definitely. Cool. Yeah, man. Thank you again for all this. I do have a quick bonus round questions really fast before we wrap this all up. Basically, I'm going to say like 2 teams from basketball, right? And then, a couple fighters and stuff like that. You just answer one answer. All right.
Let's do it.
These are always fun. It's always fun, right? So, basketball teams, right? You got Miami Heat or the LA Lakers?
Lakers.
All right. 100%. Canelo or Mayweather?
Canelo.
Okay, me too. Yeah, the guy's a stud. McGregor or Poirier in this next coming fight? Number 3.
McGregor.
All right, that's my man. No, that's it, man. That's all I got. Just a couple quick questions on that. So,
dope.
But man, I appreciate you again, really do. And I hope we can do something like this again later on. That'd be really awesome. Maybe with AJ too.
Yeah, whenever you want, man. I'm always open to do these. As long as we schedule it, I'm here. I'll do it.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. And you have a good Friday and a good weekend.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me on, man.
Thanks, man. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I hope you liked the video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any more questions as far as joining EXP, the link is in the description, or you can reach out to me personally on my email somewhere on the screen. Be sure to subscribe to Bryan Casella's channel if you haven't already. I'll have the link in the description as well. Also, he's got some amazing trainings out there. like door knocking, cold calling. Those are my favorites. I'll have the link in the description as well. So stay tuned. We'll see you on the next video.